up? It's your boy T-Bird Henry Reaction. Today's Films Friday. Time for the Me and Potato Films Friday. And that is the Dead Meat Kill Count. And this week is Stranger Things week. And we are now on season 3 of Stranger Things. Except this time, I want to split one video in half as she has the whole season in one video, which is 60 minutes, up to 60 minutes long. And with me, I will have to cut it in half, so probably close to the half. We'll have way more to after the closest kill on that. I will cut it off and save it for the next vid for next Stranger Things weeks or possibly next week, depends. But other than that, Stranger Things season 3 was definitely looked at as a very good season as well too. And we start seeing some of our cast members start getting older as well too. You know, the second season when one of them hit a little puberty voice, the rest of them now are catching up to him with the puberty. So, and as well as Millie Bobby Brown is getting a lot of recognition and a lot of other roles as well too, amongst many others. Other cast members too, including being appearing in the likes of Ghostbuster, as well too. Kate McLaughlin most recently starred in Shooting Stars. And congratulations, speaking of Shooting Stars, congratulations to his castmate who played his teammate, Scoot Henderson, who got drafted number 3 in the NBA draft this past Thursday. So anyway, enough of all of that. Let's get into season 3. Season 3 of Stranger Things. Season 3 came out in 2019. So without further ado, let's check it out.
Hey everybody, I'm back to hosting the Kill Count on the brand new Kill Count set.
This is, and it looks like, I'm guessing this is his return, because you know he was away on honeymoon and everything, as well after him and Chelsea got married, and my good friends, our good guy Zoran took over, so this must be his first video back.
This is in my home, dude. That's nuts. If you want to see more details about this and the new podcast set, check out the video I released last week. Otherwise, let's get back to the show. Ahoy, meaties, and welcome to the Kill Count, where we tell you.
Yeah, this is the more popular one because we get to get that little
the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at season 3 of Stranger Things, released on Netflix in 2019. I covered the first 2 Stranger Things seasons with 2-part videos back in 2020. Well, no more of that half and half shit. I'm doing the whole season in one go this time. And for any future viewers, this video came out before the end of season 4 dropped. So if anything in those 2 episodes makes me sound like a dummy, well, you know, that's why. Stranger Things Season 3 takes place in 1985, more than half a year after Season 2 left off. The main kids are on the cusp of high school, and their interests have shifted to girls. Well, most of them. As opposed to Seasons 1 and 2, which took place in the fall, Season 3 is Somerset, all high temperatures and free time, and the episodes appropriately feel more colorful and lively. Twin brothers Matt and Russ Duffer, the creators and showrunners, wanted Season 3 to feel more like a summer blockbuster in tone. I think it absolutely does, and for the most part, it's a pretty fun time. The one way it's a disappointment is with all the Russian stuff. While the first 2 seasons used the Cold War as a backdrop, it was mostly to set a paranoid tone and explore the theme of scary government overreach.
We have to trust them, okay? This is our government. They're on our side.
Season 3 says, actually, there are Russians, and they're the bad guys, which turns part of its plot into a madcap spy movie with a boring Terminator wannabe. I appreciate that the show is trying to expand out from Hawkins, but the Hawkins setting and characters are what make it so enjoyable. Thankfully, those characters are able to salvage most of the silly plot stuff. Speaking of characters, we have a few new additions to the cast. Many of them are good, with Maya Hawke's Robin a standout. Plus, the new ever-evolving upside-down monster is pretty sweet. Remember the Mind Flayer?
Hold on a second before I got, because I'm on the exit out some tabs on, because it's like starting to get choppy already. Hold on. I'm back. Let's keep going.
He's back in gloop form. I think it's way cooler than a pack of Demodogs. Overall, though it has its flaws, I found Season 3 much more watchable and memorable than Season 2. If you're photosensitive though, I gotta be real with you. I don't think Stranger Things wants you watching it. There's a general warning when you go to play the show, and I'm gonna have to do the same for this episode. You've been general warned. General warned. Now, as I'm sure you've already noticed, this kill count is a behemoth. It took a ton of work to do, and thankfully a sponsor helped pay for all them hours. Displate offers high quality print-on-demand metal posters. That's right, metal, which means you couldn't rip it if you tried.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love Zora.
They're a perfect way to personalize your space. That secret underground facility feeling drab? Well, throw up a display, mother Russians! With the magnet mounting system, it's easy to not only hang up your display, but also change up your display whenever the mood strikes. Ha! Looking great, James with hat. And with millions of designs available, that mood can strike you a lot. But Displate is about more than just their posters, because for each print you buy, Displate will plant a tree. So these Displates aren't just fun wall decor, they're also offerings to the Lorax. Seeing these on screen really does not do justice to how cool they are. So click the link in the description to check out some of my favorite designs that I've curated, and get a special discount towards your very own Displate.
Jesus Christ, Zoran.
Like New Coke, Season 3 is sweeter and bolder. Does that mean more bodies? Only one way to find out. I've been waiting 6 months to say this. Let's get to the kills. The season begins in June 1984, placing this opening scene between seasons 1 and 2.
A couple months before I'm born.
Like I said, those seasons had the US government as a shadowy menace. But forget that ish, we've got real live Russians here. A regular red horde, a commie carnival. They boot up the freedom-hating Laser 9000 and blow a molten vag into the wall. Oh, and it's leaking lava slugs? Good job, I guess? The experiment super fucks up, which is bad news for these guys, who look like Garandan took over Moltar's job. The laser blows up and obliterates 8 of them. Their bodies burn up like leaves tossed into a bonfire. Spin VFX did the effects for this Cold War open, creating an entirely CG environment with CG characters and a CG laser. So many layers went into these effects, making it impressive how seamless the end product feels. Everyone knows I love practical effects, and sometimes people wrongly accuse me of hating all CG. This CG right here, fucking awesome, and just as impressive as practical effects in its own way. The explosion upsets Ronald Ruski, who wants the Iron Curtain to extend to the Upside Down. Under his orders, the head scientist gets Admiral Ozold by a boring henchman named Grigori. That scientist was as clumsy as he is Russian. Boss Man approaches another scientist, Alexei, and tells him he has 1 year to fix their boom boom boo boo. You are in command now, Admiral Alexei, and that's the way they do it in the motherland. It's 1 year later, summer 1985, and in this year of new beginnings, the kids have ditched the arcade for the mall. Careful there, scamps. Watch out for security robots. Starcourt Mall may not have guys asking waitresses for more butter, but it does have Steve Harrington as an ice cream slinger at Scoops Ahoy. It's also got a movie theater playing the most underrated of Romero's masterpieces. Before that wall in the calendar room can get all handsy, the power goes out in the theater, the ice cream shop, the whole damn mall. Not even the penny ponies are spared. Steve tries to get the lights going again, but if that's also his bedroom technique, no wonder they're staying turned off. This power outage is town-wide, in fact, spreading at the speed of a camera pan. At an old steel mill, something stirs in its wake. Wind's blowing up a gale today. Debris moves around, it's solid visual effects until we're whipping up a whole ass smoke monster. Not the kind that possessed Saeed, the kind that possessed Will last season. The power comes back, but so does Will Byers' trauma, cause it wouldn't be ST without his PTSD. Poor little bowl cut boy's always having a shit old time. But how are the other characters doing? Well, let's catch up. Lucas and Max are still together, as are Elle and Mike. They've been slobbering all over each other in the 6 months since middle school ended with the snowball dance. Hopper is not a fan. Let's check in with our other faves too, like Jonathan, Winona Ryder, and Bob. Oh wait, no, Bob's dead. Well, hey, Billy's here. Remember him? He's Max's abusive brother who was murderously racist towards Lucas. Yeah, shitty guy, but hey, at least he's hot. All the MILFs think so too. Mrs. Wheeler, I didn't see you swimming. Why's that deck chair dripping wet? As gross as it is for her to be fucking a high schooler, her interest logically follows the season 2 finale. Karen started crushing on this teenage boy when he stopped by her house looking for kids to beat up. Billy takes an interest in Karen too, because Dodoy, and extends her an invitation to have an affair that night. As always, Cara Buono puts in phenomenal acting work, showing how conflicted Karen is and how hard she's trying to play it cool. Heart of the series Joyce Byers still works.
I understand, because she's hot.
Works at Melville's General Store. It's one of the last places still open downtown. The Starcourt Mall has been Walmarting all the other local places out of business. Hopper comes in and complains to her about his adopted daughter's romantic life.
You know, it is that smug son of a bitch Mike. He's corrupting her, I'm telling you. And I'm just gonna lose it. I mean, I'm gonna lose it, Joyce.
She tells him to chill and be more like the enjoyable character he used to be, but season 3 Hopper is a sitcom-y, brutish oaf. The only thing that calms him down is the prospect of a romantic subplot. Hey, if she's good enough for Beetlejuice, she's good enough for Hellboy. It's the summer before senior year for Jonathan Byers and Nancy Wheeler. They're dating and working summer jobs together at the Hawkins Post. Nancy has journalistic ambitions, but fails to garner respect from the old boys who run the place. They think of her as nothing more than a sandwich getter.
You think you can follow the clues and solve the case of the missing condiment, Nancy?
Nancy still works hard and stays late.
Was that Gary Busey's son? I forgot his name is Jake Busey.
At the office, which is when she gets a call from a Mrs. Driscoll about sick rats. Might have something to do with how every rat in Hawkins has come to the old steel mill. There, they went into the basement and had a splody celebration. Is this how Mrs. Brisby became a widow? As mentioned, the recently graduated Steve Harrington is an adorable little ice cream sailor at the Starcourt Mall.
I'm Steve Harrington. Oh, God. Can I get you guys a little taste of the Cherries Jubilee? No?
He's lost all his coolness though, which gets him teased by his co-worker Robin. Robin's played by Maya Hawke, last seen on the Kill Count in Fear Street Part 1. She's the daughter of Uma the Bride Thurman and Bagul victim Ethan Hawke. Dustin Henderson just got back to Hawkins after spending the past—
I forgot who she played on there. Maya Hawke. I forgot who she played on Fear Street. On Fear Street though. I forgot who she played on there. I remember her on there. I'm trying to remember. Wait a minute. Oh, wait. That's Stranger Things. She's on it? Wait a minute. Yeah, I didn't know she was. Oh, wow. It took me a while to realize that she was on Fear Street as well, too. Sadie Zane. Nice. All right, Heather. Let's see. Heather Watkins. Trying to remember that. Who was she on there? Oh, she's the one that got killed in the beginning. Yeah, about a skull dude. Yeah, she the one that got killed in the beginning. Okay, but yeah, I ain't not. Tony Rosa realized who Sadie Sink was on there too. She played I think she was on who that Sadie Zink. Who was she on there? I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I got a little. C. Berman, Christy Berman. Yup. She played young Christine Berman. Yup. Yep. She played a young version of Keith who Gillian Jacob played later on. Yup.
Month at a science camp. There, he stole invention ideas from Homer Simpson and built a ham radio to talk to his totally real girlfriend.
Girlfriend?
Yeah, y'all. He's the purrin' playa. The radio requires high elevation to work, and during the hike to get there, Mike and Eleven leave to suck face. The others persevere and summit late, but hours after setting up the radio and asking Susie if she copies, Dustin's new boo still hasn't answered. His other friends bail too, meaning Dustin's all alone when he intercepts a secret commie radio message. It's coming from the layer we saw in the cold open, and for Dustin's sake, I hope it doesn't have anything to do with Ovaltine. At home, Hopper tries his best to follow Joyce's advice and speak to Eleven and Mike like adults. He's bad at it though, and they're little shits right back to him.
What I wanted to say to you is that,
Uh-oh. I think we're in trouble.
Oh, come on, Mike. You don't mess around with Jim. Hopper lies to Mike and says his mom wants him home. In the truck, he berates the little bastard, saying he has to quit spending so much time with Al, or else he'll force him to watch the Hellboy reboot. Mrs. Wheeler gets ready for her tryst to I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight, which wouldn't be released by Cutting Crew until an entire year later. Reminds me of the anachronistic needle drop in Season 2, where a 1985 Oingo Boingo song scored a montage set in 1984. Karen is ready to get milfy with Bilfy until she sees her youngest Holly sleeping on her human log Ted. That'll dampen your lamps, and she decides that the price of infidelity is too damn high. Billy doesn't get that message and is practicing his marriage wrecking in the mirror when his car spins out and he crashes right next to the old steel mill. In no time at all, Billy gets hooked and dragged across the road. He's pulled into the basement and his scream echoes out until the next episode autoplays. Billy jump cuts out of the millie and makes a super leather jacket getaway, but it's too late. Judge judging by these flashes of trauma and electric stuff. Billy's been infected by the Mind Flayer, specifically that dust we saw stirring to life after the Hawkins-wide power outage.
Yeah,
His upside-down infection comes with a thrillering welcoming committee, headed by an upside-down version of Billy himself. The doppelganger's got a Field of Dreams message for him.
I want to build.
But not Billy ain't talking about no baseball diamond. He wants Billy to build an army for him. Hup hup. Hopper meets with Larry Klein, hotshot mayor of Hawkins. He's played by Cary Elwes, who we best know from Saw, where he played what was he, a proctor?
I'm a doctor.
Ah, yeah, that was close. Klein's the reason the Starcourt Mall has moved into town, which not everyone is pleased about, given the condition of Main Street. Klein says fuck 'em and forces Hopper to clear out the protesters for not having a permit. Intrigued by the rat disease lead, Nancy gets out of work by playing on her boss's discomfort with women.
I've been having some girl problems.
She grabs Jonathan and his camera, hoping to impress their bosses with a good story. And if they get fired for their attempt,
Then we never have to work at the shithole again.
they head to the home of Doris Driscoll. And shout out to 70-something actress Peggy Miley. She's great, like a wholesome little old lady version of Danny DeVito.
Lemonade, it's fresh squeezed.
She really makes Mrs. Driscoll a memorable character.
These bags, you're sure they were full before?
I'm old, honey, not senile.
Driscoll's got rats eating up all her fertilizer, which must be like rat crack for these creepy Reaper
Trying to
Chiefs.
figure
So
what I
shit,
know
man,
from.
there's never been a better time to
been a
quote
lot of
Smashing
stuff that's
Pumpkins.
only
Nancy and
fucking
Jonathan leave before they see what happens to the captured
Oh, Police
rat.
Roar,
It
yep,
explodes
that's what I
as though it were hit by a bullet with butterfly wings.
Granny-
Then the raspberry jam crawls out of the cage and across the floor. And just like that, a baby Mind Flayer was born. Season 3 had a new lead VFX company in Rodeo Effects. It was headed by supervisor Martin Pelletier, who worked under returning VFX supervisor Paul Graff. Rodeo spent 14 months building over 350 VFX shots, including the Gloop Monster's whole life cycle.
We had to come up with a way to go from rat to goop and from goop to monster.
Animation supervisor Yvonne Jardel used Houdini to make their CG rat skin bubble. When it came to the explosion, they avoided visible guts, opting instead for a monolithic slime to keep things from getting too gory. That slime, though, is not so simple underneath. There are multiple layers of biomechanics that inform how the creature moves and behaves in space. These fleshy effects are much different than the ash particles that dominated Season 2. The Duffers wanted grosser visuals for Season 3, and for inspiration turned to The Thing and Hellraiser. Wet and fleshy was their mood board. Probably wanted at least a 5 on the Screamin' Mad George scale. Mike, still feeling the sting of Hopper's yelly threats, lies to 11 to avoid hanging out with her. Elle can tell she's getting BS'd, so good job, Hop. You caused emotional duress to a couple of hormonal teens. Adoptive father of the year right there. He celebrates by setting up a non-date dinner with Joyce that night, but she's distracted by some other attraction that isn't working. The magnets in her store have fallen down, just like the ones on her fridge at home did earlier. Fucking magnets. How do they work? Mike's lie sends him and 11 seeking comfort in their friends. Mike with Lucas and Will, and 11 with Max, despite the brief rivalry they had in Season 2. Everyone pretty much agrees that Mike done fucked up, and the boys head to the mall so Mike can get 11 an apology gift. Though it's against Hopper's rules for her, 11 also goes to the mall. Max says she can forget her boy troubles with a material Madonna montage. Why are you dressing like Gallagher, girl? Things get pretty cutesy here. We even get a stacked heads around the corner bully girl soda blow-up prank. It's a real Teehian time. The kids all run into each other outside the mall, and thanks to her newfound confidence, 11 kicks Mike to the curb.
I dump your ass.
A lot of Stranger Things locations are filmed on sets at a soundstage in Atlanta, especially when they're frequently used, like the Byers house and the Wheeler basement. Hopper's cabin is a whole-ass building constructed on a soundstage. But for the Starcourt Mall, around which the entirety of Season 3 revolves, production bought a part of the Gwinnett Place Mall in Duluth, Georgia, which had first opened in 1984. Like many malls, it had fallen on hard times in the 21st century.
The Georgia State student's body was discovered December 21st by a mall security guard. The body was behind this counter area of a former food court restaurant.
Jesus, I didn't expect that though.
Really either.
Fun to learn. The mall was given a cosmetic makeover by Stranger Things' longtime production designer, Chris Trujillo. His team of more than 50 carpenters and painters worked for 10 weeks rebuilding dozens of stores.
Yeah, I was like, wondering how they did that though. That's pretty awesome.
To be recreated, all in period accurate design.
Exactly.
JCPenney and a 3,000 square foot Gap joined original businesses like Scoops Ahoy and Star Cinema. The renovations went as far as rewiring the place to give production complete electrical control. And apparently the mall was open and functional functional during shooting. The public part separated from the set by simple curtains.
Like a bunch of people are shopping as we're filming.
Wow.
In the mall. People are shopping as we're filming. And like I see people just like, huh?
Dustin heads to the mall next to reunite the show's best character pairings. Dustin forever, motherfuckers! Robin, you can join too. He tells Steve about his possibly fake girlfriend Susie and the secret Russian radio transmission he intercepted. If Steve can help him decipher it, they can be true red, white, and blue heroes. Unfortunately, they kind of suck at it, so Robin butts in, arguing she's got a much better chance at success.
I'm fluent in 4 languages, you know.
Russian?
Uye arye umbade.
Holy shit.
That was Pig Latin dingus.
Ixnay on the Upid stay. After some time, Robin cracks the first sentence.
The week is long.
Well, that's thrilling.
The remaining sentences are no less cryptic, but on their way out, Steve recognizes where he heard the transmission's background music.
I don't understand.
It's the exact same song in the recording.
Yeah, it's Hal's favorite song. And the signal wasn't coming from Russia, but from right here, inside their town's bustling core of capitalism. When Joyce can't figure out magnets on her own, she heads to an expert, the miniature painting, Weird Al listening to science teacher, Mr. Scott Clark. They spend all day talking nerd shit, and he posits a theory as to why her magnets ain't magneted. Basically, a nearby big-ass machine might be the reason, and Joyce knows a place where they've got all sorts of big-ass machines. She's still in Scott Clark's garage when it's time for her and Hopper's not date dinner. Aw man, and he went full on Miami Vice for it. The no-show causes Big Jim to get drunk by himself and belligerent with the staff. Great police chief behavior, dude. Definitely drove himself home drunk too. At the Hawkins pool, Karen Wheeler tries to explain to Billy why she didn't meet him for meat mashing. The sweaty boy hallucinates knocking the MILF out, but thankfully that wasn't real.
Stay away from me, Karen.
Just like with Will last season, there's still part of Billy inside his body, even though it's mostly mind flayer at this point. Unlike Will though, Billy is a violent douche nozzle, so it's hard for me to tell when he's supposed to be possessed and when he's not. Just as Will did before him, Billy tries to keep his body cool. He's taking a cold shower when fellow lifeguard Heather Holloway finds him. She peers with a 1,000-yard stare before Billy can't take it anymore and attacks her. Later, he ties her up and takes her to the old steel mill. He tells her not to be afraid because he's just here to show her his friend, his giant, goopy, terrifying friend. Max and Elle keep listening to Madonna and pining over future fellow Netflix stars.
That is an amazing
Oh! Speaking of that, they're on a move for the new season.
Well, he sells a mean car, I tell you what.
Yep.
But teen mags aren't all they're looking at. Eleven taps into her powers to spy on her ex-boyfriend and his boys. Huh, what are they up to?
Lord.
Some things never change.
Dustin party.
Okay, very well.
They take Elle's privacy-violating powers and put another slumber party spin on them. Eleven tunes into the void at frequency 102 Point Billy, where things are pretty weird, seeing as how Billy's sacrificing a girl to a gloop monster. Void Billy seems to sense 11, so he blips away like Barney the dinosaur just snapped his fingers. It's a good scary moment for the show. I mean, look at how scared 11 is. The girls go to Max's house to see if anything seems out of place for Billy. Nothing seems weird so far, and Billy always soaks his ice bags in the bathtub. The girls get concerned when they find some lifeguard gear covered in blood. That sends them to the public pool where a picture of Heather helps 11 tune her void brain to the proper residence. Looks like Heather's 5 doors down from the Elm Street house and behind a similarly painted red door. What you doing in a tub full of ice there, Heather? Well, I would if you quit sinking through the floor. Man, Elm Street tubs go deep. Jonathan and Nancy print Templeton's headshots, and Nancy reveals that many hardware stores have been getting their fertilizers and pesticides stolen. It's a good story, but coming from her, it's not taken seriously.
Hawkins rodents prefer
poison. That is Jake Busey.
Tells all.
That asshole Bruce is played by Jake Busey, last seen on The Kill Count playing his dad's character's son in The Predator. The boss man here is Tom Holloway.
Wow. We'll get to see that soon when I get to that.
Is the father of Heather the lifeguard. Tom tells Nancy to drop the Driscoll story, and if she doesn't, she'll be fired. Determined to prove herself, Nancy tells Jonathan that they should go get the Driscoll rat as hard evidence. They get to the old lady's home and let themselves in. Downstairs, they find Mrs. Driscoll acting just like them rats. She's nomming away on fertilizer. Talk about a shit-eating grin. Joyce goes to Hopper's and says that she thinks Hawkins' lab is behind whatever's causing her magnets not to work, though he's pissed at her for standing him up up, Joyce forces him to come along as she heads to the lab with determination and B&E tools. They break into Hawkins' lab, which has been abandoned since season 2 ended 6 months ago. Oh hey, this is where Bob died, and Joyce is just so happy to be back here. Really, it's great, like super. The upside down gateway is still sealed up tight, but they do hear a noise nearby. When Hopper goes to investigate, he's attacked by Grigori, the Russian bruiser from the season's opening scene. Grigori the Boring knocks Hopper out before riding away on his bike, like cool guy American Steve McQueen's in Greatest of Escapings. Robin's been trying to decipher the Russian code, but it's not until she sees a cat symbol that she gets an idea. You know, maybe check for skull masks before running into the middle of the mall like that, Maya. She whirls around and cracks all the code's clues, confirming that the transmission has to do with the mall itself. She and Stustin have a rainy rooftop spy sesh where they see more evidence that something shady's going on.
Well, I think we found your Russians.
And I think you found your subplot. Will is trying real hard to remind his friends of their season 1 roots.
I have seen into the future, and I've seen that today is a new day. A day free of girls.
Will's much more in the background this season, but I like his story of not maturing the same as his friends. It makes for some heartbreaking scenes, especially for anyone whose friends ever outgrew them in coolness.
7 points of damage. Oh no, my arm. Lucas, look, my arm.
Oh man, fucking devastating. Also, this is when they start to hint that Will might be gay.
It's not my fault you don't like girls.
I expect that to come out, no pun intended, by time season 4 wraps up.
Well, because you know he came out the closet as I think he came as a bi or fully.
Abandoned by his friends, with whom he used to bust many a ghost, Will the Wet has a hissy fit and breaks down Castle Byers with a bat. Damn, he took that thing down like he was playing Rampage. Hardy little feller, if, you know, a bit soggy. Also drenched by this downpour are Elle and Max as they arrive at the Holloway home. There they find Heather, right as rain, having dinner with her parents and Billy. If you thought Billy was unnerving when he was all screamy shouty, get a load of when the Mind Flayer puppeteers him like he's a nice guy.
And I'm sorry, I did not quite catch your name.
Al.
Props to Dacre Montgomery, giving another standout performance this season. They assure the girls everything is a-okay and send them off to race paper boats in the gutter. When they're gone, Billy and Heather knock her mother out with drugs and her father out with a wine bottle to the head. This is another good horror.
She's possessed.
Creepily scored to Don McLean's American Pie. It's like a PG-13 version of Clockwork Orange or some shit. Doris Driscoll and her mud mouth are taken by an ambulance, but she doesn't want to go to the hospital. She reaches out towards the old steel mill where Tom and Mrs. Holloway are tied up thanks to their daughter Dearest. Heather and Billy Crudlip are leaving them as food for the Gloop monster. Here it comes, glooping all over the place.
Jesus Christ.
No, dude, it's the Gloop monster. Could Jesus Christ do this? Because you know that tastes like wine. Joyce brings Hopper back to consciousness and tries to get him to stop flashing as little Jim Cocker.
Where are my clothes?
They were soaked.
Yeah, next time you get jumped, try not to piss yourself, brah. Joyce mentions that the assailant rode a motorcycle, which sends Hopper back to Mayor Klein's office. Last time Hop was there, Grigori was too, and Hopper noticed the Russian's cool guy motorcycle gear. When Hopper makes an accusation, Klein bites back like an asshole with teeth.
Don't give me that dead daughter sob story, because I just don't care.
And that's how Mayor Klein learned how hard his wooden door is. Hopper threatens to take away Klein's ability to do the claw, so the mayor laments and admits that Grigori works for the Russians who own Starcourt Mall. They've been paying Mayor Klein to expand their land deals into East Hawkins, and if it's one thing you don't want the Russians in charge of, it's the eastern half of a city. Hopper and Joyce take Larry Klein back to his home so they can look at the land deeds the Starcourt Russians have been purchasing. They look them up on a map, and that night, the Hawkins house hunters check out the various properties. As for Mayor Klein, they leave him handcuffed in his room. With no Rusty Saw around, his wife has to let him out later. At the Hawkins Post, Nancy and Jonathan are in trouble for the Doris Driscoll thing. Possessed Papa Holloway's so pissed, he'll GD kick this camera sideways. This Tuck's everlasting patience has run out, so he fires them both on the spot. Nancy's more upset about not being taken seriously, but Jonathan is mad at her for getting them fired.
It's a summer job. Your life is hardly over.
I don't live in a 2-story house on Maple Street. My dad doesn't earn 6 figures.
I love this conflict because they both have valid points. Nancy comes from the financially comfortable Wheeler household, while the Byerses have always
I think this one I'll throw back to one of the Run the Hill theme.
Struggled and are from a different part of town. Jonathan definitely needs this job way more than her. At the same time, his frustrations lead him to dismissing her treatment at the Post.
You don't know what it's like.
Neither do you.
Not That's how you write conflict, kids. Once again, Karen Wheeler proves herself to be Mom of the Year, listening to Nancy and telling her to stay strong in this messed up world. Nancy, your mom is so awesome and hot. With maternal encouragement, Nancy goes to the hospital and checks on Mrs. Driscoll. Doris, you've lowered your cholesterol. Great work. Max and Elle are still mad at the boys, but they get them on the yelly telly and say they're having a code red. Everyone assemble, except Dustin, who's still spying on the Russians and their gun-guarded secret storage room. In Mike's basement, Will says that his upside-down senses are tingling, and his little boy Goosebumps can only mean one thing.
The Mind Flayer.
The Mind Flayer spent season 2 with a psychic link to Willie Bye-Bye's body. When Eleven closed the upside-down gate, it severed the connection, which killed the Demodogs, but not the part of the Mind Flayer that was inside of Will. Instead, when that dust got exorcised, it became stuck in our world, since there was no longer passage to the upside down. Unbeknownst to the kids, the Russians opened a new gate. It's what caused the power outage and allowed the Mind Flayer's psychic link to find signal again. The Mind Flayer's new form began to possess rats and people, making them eat chemicals and melting them into goop. The party realizes that Billy's probably getting flayed. After all, he was taking ice baths, and we all know the MF and Mind Flayer.
He likes it cold.
They decide they'll test Billy with a trip to the sauna.
Hey, shut the door!
I love the look of the guy on the right. He's just begging to be rescued. Save me! In the Scoops Troop Russian Mallrats plotline, Robin gets schematics to figure out how they can infiltrate the storage room. Air ducts might work, but those things are freaking tiny, man. Good thing they know a tiny child. It's Lucas's sister, Erica Sinclair. Introduced
This is when she made. I think this is our breakout season.
Last season being sassy.
Bunch of nerds.
She's been seen throughout this season taking advantage of the Scoops Ahoy free sample policy. That makes it simple to bribe her. Many scoops and Sundays later, she agrees to help them out. After all, she is a patriot.
You can't spell America without Erica.
Aw, Ted Wheeler would be proud.
We're all patriots in this house.
That night after the mall closes, Erica slips into the air ducts like a little John McPain in the ass. It works, and she opens the storage room from the inside. They open up some boxes and find enough plutonium to power a DeLorean, or maybe it's the virus from Resident Evil. Either way, not a good time for the room to start shaking like this. Turns out they're actually on an elevator of some kind, and much like the elevators in Resident Evil, that thing starts dropping at a pants-shitting speed. Not Billy's been sweating up a storm all day, so he's excited to cool down with a nice cold shower. But even possessed by the Mind Flayer, Billy falls victim to a trap. He's launched through the air by the telekinetic teenager and gets locked up in the sweat box. They raise the temp to sweat him out, though Max begins to have doubts when Billy starts crying and pleading. Again, hard to tell how much Billy is actually there. We've never seen him act vulnerable before, and besides, Will's got some back of neck bumpies. That means the Mind Flayer is in the house.
Get away from the door!
Oh!
Let me out, you bitch! Let me out! Fucking got you!
Yeah, it's the Mind Flayer, right? Or is that just Billy? The heat finally takes its toll on Billy's possessed body, giving him venom levels of vascularity. The same sort of spiderweb effects start to cover Mrs. Driscoll in the hospital, because when the Mind Flayer gets damaged, so does the rest of its possessed network. We learned this in season 2. That's why you always do the homework, folks. Billy breaks free and Eleven holds him back with her mind powers, but the telekinetic teenager can't stop Billy from setting a new PR, and grabs her by the throat to show that he means Billy business. Mike rescues Eleven from a strangly death, allowing her to gain the upper hand once more. She mind flings Billy through a frickin' brick wall, which causes her to collapse and allows Billy to get away. He finds comfort in the hands of the possessed Heather Holloway and all their friends, the flayed citizens of Hawkins. The elevator full of tweens, teens,
Cool. I'm going to stop it here. I'm gonna stop it here. So this was I'm gonna stop it here since it's close to that. So I'm gonna stop at this the chapters right here. So I remember that was 2845 and
the elevator
beginning of chapter 5. So yeah. Either way, there you have it. That's one half of the Stranger Things kill count. Stranger Things season 3 kill count right there, though. And I can see why this was definitely one of the most popular seasons as well too, along with season 4. This was definitely cool though. Like I would skim through the first 2 seasons, probably watch, and then definitely will sit through and watch 3 for sure, because this season looked pretty awesome as well too. So other than that, do you have it? Strange Things. So next week we'll return to the Alien Predator franchise, or we can check out Alien vs Predator, And depends on more. I might just say fuck it and return to Stranger Things next week. Who knows? And after that, we're going to go to into the poll week as well too, which I will include one of their non-critters kill count as well too on that. But other than that, this was definitely no. I'm sorry. Critter is next. The other week is Critters. Then we have poll week as well as add one of some of the non-critter kill counts as well too. It's more than one. It's more than two. As far as entries wise, well too, I'll do another play in. But other than that, like I said, this was definitely a good season so far. So if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bear signing off. One love.